Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Cinema Circle, the show where we talk and do movie reviews of all your favorite releases coming out of Hollywood. The show that is for the fans, by the fans. I'm your host for today, VonJevy. And joining me as usual is Patricia Rostrulo.
What's up?
And Anthony Who Knows. Today we are talking about Aladdin.
I thought a princess could go anywhere.
Not this princess.
Do you trust me?
Don't you dare close your eyes. Hold your breath, it gets better.
I'm like a shooting star. I've come so far.
Let me share this whole new world with you.
All right, welcome back. All right, so we're going to start off with Aladdin, and I'm going to start this one off. I was super excited when they announced this movie. Mm-hmm. But I think what happened was the first question that everybody was asking was, who is going to replace Robin Williams as the genie? And I was thinking, the person who they replace him with has to be a big personality and has to bring their own style and their own charisma to it, right? They announced Will Smith, and I think people kind of weren't on board with that. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's Will Smith. Why is he in this? He's not gonna, he's just gonna bring a Will Smith vibe to the film. I thought that it was perfect casting. Just for the reason of, Will Smith is a big personality.
This is the very first trailer. Don't get dizzy, though. Don't get dizzy before we start the trailer. Don't get dizzy. Oh.
And I knew that if you wanted Genie to land in this movie and not take away from what Robin Williams did, you had to get somebody like a Will Smith who is going to bring his charm to the role. Just like how Robin Williams brought his, right? Mm-hmm. And we didn't want an exact replica, but that was just me. Anyways, first trailer comes out, and people were kind of confused. It was not looking good for these guys. Oh, yeah. Nobody was expecting anything from this movie. Okay. Right?
I don't
know. Do you?
I don't remember.
You?
I don't think I watched the first trailer.
I didn't see the trailer, but I saw the pictures.
Right? Yeah, and he wasn't, the thing is that Will Smith wasn't blue.
Yeah.
That was the big thing.
I think that was the biggest thing. So he did explain himself.
Yeah, he did say, hey guys, I am going to be blue. But people are like, oh my gosh, we're just going to see Will Smith in this movie. Yeah. Movie comes out, and oh my gosh, I had a fantastic time. I'm going to tell you right now, the big standout for me was Will Smith as the genie. He brought everything that Robin Williams brought. Not doing it like real Robin Williams, but he brought everything, the essence of what Robin Williams brought to the role of Genie, while bringing his own charm, his own Will Smith charismatic self, and adding something original to it. Mm-hmm. I thought that it was a brilliant performance by him. One of my favorite parts of the movie was that whole sequence of Prince Ali. I thought that was really well done. The colors, the dancing, the singing, they really spiced it up. And it really made me feel like, it really made me feel good. It brought the kid back out of me. It was just like, I had a fantastic time in the theater. I could not be happier with this movie. That being said, I think the weakest part of this movie, and you guys may disagree with me, but I think it was Jasmine. I think it was Naomi Scott as Jasmine. Now, although I think she did bring the essence of what a Disney cartoon princess is, I did feel that in the way she spoke, in her mannerisms. I just thought that she was a little underwhelming in terms of the other performances that were going on. And she could have, to me, her best performance in the film was when she performed that song, Speechless or whatever it was called. Yeah. That was an amazing, her best acting that I've seen. And I wish that she brought that throughout the entire film. But though I like the song and I like the performance, I thought that the song was misplaced. Yeah. I did not think that it fit where it fit, and I felt like they shoehorned the song in just to add something new, just to add a new flavor. I did not really enjoy that part of the movie, though I did enjoy her performance. Yeah. Before I go on, I want you guys to kind of jump in on the things that I've mentioned so far.
Sure. Okay, well, to start off, the stuff that you mentioned, Will Smith, when he was first casted, I wasn't mad about it. It was one of those things where, I never thought of it, but now that you mention it, I think he'd be great. And after seeing the movie, I think he did a good job. The first scene that we saw him in, though, when when Aladdin like meets him for the first time, I was very, oh yeah, I like him. Oh wait, no, I don't like him. Oh, I like him. I don't like him. Because there were moments where I felt like, and this is just me, I felt like he's trying to be Robin Williams in certain ways he delivered the lines and in certain ways that he performed. But in other ones, I was like, oh, but that's the Will Smith charm that I'm looking for. So I feel like not just that scene, but throughout the movie, it was very on and off for me. There were moments where I felt very cringe, and then there were moments where I felt like, oh, this guy was great. So that's Will Smith. I still think he did a great job though, and I will agree that he was the one that made the movie for me. Yeah. All of the funny moments in the film were because of Will Smith, and I think he's a big part of why people love the movie. My favorite scene was definitely when they were dancing and he was making Aladdin. I was dying. Like
which part?
When they were at like the party or something, and then he was making Aladdin dance. I was crying laughing. It was such a good scene. But overall, like I really like the production of the movie. The dance numbers, the singing. I think the vocals were on point for all of them. The production design, like the way they made Agrabah look, and just everything. Their costumes, like they killed it with that. And I think the casting was good too for both Aladdin and Jasmine. I think both of them. I like that. Aladdin Mina is a Canadian, representing, especially from Toronto. So I really like that. I like that, and I think that Naomi did good. I don't think she was the weakest part in terms of like the casting. I think she was a great choice to it. Maybe that had to do more with the way they wrote her scenes, but I think her performance, the way that she brought the character to life, was perfect. I think she was the perfect Jasmine, and going off of what you said about her song, I thought it was perfect because I feel like she needed her moment to express her feelings, and because it is a Disney movie, what better way than to do it with a song? So overall, I just really like that they made it close to the original but also put their own spin on it. I really appreciate that.
With Will Smith, I was not surprised that they cast him, and I was glad that they did because I felt like he would fit the character really well. The only thing that I was worried about was when I was watching Genie on screen, I was worried that I'd be watching Will Smith, and that didn't happen. So that surprised me, and I was really happy because then that would have ruined the film for me. I think like a lot of people think that with Will Smith, there's a lot of ego involved in the role, but I didn't find that here. I think he actually put a lot of effort into doing justice for Genie, and then I love that I didn't see Will Smith. Like I didn't picture it being Will Smith throughout the movie. I actually saw Genie, so I think that's where he did well. To pick up on the spot about Jasmine and her song, I think for me it was a good song and she performed it really well. I think it just would have been more powerful if she had a bigger role in the movie. So if the story centered around her and her becoming a woman and having that feminist movement or whatever in the movie, if that was I think if that was more elaborated, I think this song would have been perfect. Yeah,
because
you just don't feel the lead up.
It's a good song.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I feel like it was kind of just placed and her storyline wasn't one that I was necessarily rooting for in a sense.
Yeah,
I was rooting for I was rooting for Aladdin and I was rooting for Genie. Like what Genie wanted and those two and that bond.
Yeah, it's just because the movie didn't center around her character. I think that's why there's mixed reviews. Like the song and the performance was done really well.
Amazing.
I think just if they put the story towards her a little bit more, like centered around her, it would have been a lot more powerful for sure.
For me, the things that I didn't like about this was the underuse of both Jafar and the Sultan. I feel like in the original one, they were like, we knew exactly what Jafar was after, and we knew the Sultan's involvement in Jasmine's life. Whereas in this live action version, they kind of just skimmed through the beginning with Jafar, like when he was saying what he wanted from the cave. They just skimmed over that really quickly, and you kind of didn't really know throughout the whole movie what he really wanted. It's hard for me to watch it without comparing it to the original because it's based off of a classic, and I try not to, but there were some scenes, like for example when they went into the cave, it wasn't as magical as the animated one. Like when the genie comes up for the first time, when they meet the carpet for the first time, it didn't have the same touch for me, and I kind of had little moments like that throughout the film that kind of threw me off a little. I'm like, wait, but that wasn't how it was supposed to be. Or
I'm gonna agree with you up to the points of the musical numbers. All musical numbers were good. Those fantastic.
Were
spot on.
There were just certain scenes throughout that I felt like that.
Yeah, to your point, the cave scene could have been a little bit more magical. But I think what saved it was Never Had a Friend Like Me. What saved it was Prince Ali. What Saved It was A Whole New World. You know what I mean? Like those are those really elevated it because they spent a lot of time on it.
So the one thing in this movie that I thought was that they added that was better than the cartoon was the handmaid. I think because she was like you show that relationship with her and Jasmine, but then Genie also got a love interest, and like he doesn't have that in the original. And it worked. Cool. Yeah, it worked. It could have been cheesy, like why are they doing this? But it actually worked.
Maybe that's why the Sultan didn't have as much significance, is because
they were doing a lot. Yeah, they were doing a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
All right, so let's break it down to our verdict. Patricia, what are you giving it?
I give it an 8.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an 8.5 as well.
I'm going with a 7.5. It was a good movie, but I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Those are all solid ratings. Yeah. All right. The next movie that we are talking about is Toy Story 4. Oh my goodness.